Hi, I'm Chef Rhonda, also known as the Kitchen Witch, and I want to share with you my favorite way to eat beets, and that is as beet hummus. It's so easy to make. I can't believe people buy hummus sometimes because it is so simple to make. You just need a few ingredients. First off, you need some beets. So I have roasted these beets. Roasting beets is very simple. You start by scrubbing your beet so it's nice and clean. Cut off the ends, wrap it in foil, pop it in the oven at 350 degrees or 400 degrees, doesn't really matter. Cook them for about an hour. It might take an hour and a half depending on the size of the beet. To tell if they're done, you just simply take a fork and pierce it. If it pierces through, it's done. Next, you let them cool. Once they're cooled, it's time to peel them and chop them up so you can use them. They are messy and they stain. So I like to wear gloves. If you don't have gloves and you need to peel your beets, you can use your foil and it kind of comes off, see, like that. So, but I'm going to use a little paring knife to make quick work of this, and I'll just pull that off. So I have a little confession to make. I'm not the biggest fan of beets, but they are so good for you. They have a strong earthy flavor, and it's all right. So I usually use my beets in other things like hummus or something to kind of cover up the taste a little bit. You do like them like diced up fine and put in a salad with a nice vinaigrette. And I've had some fermented beets that were actually pretty amazing. I was traumatized as a child. I loved those little spiced apples that they would put on your plate. That was back in the 70s as like decor with a little piece of parsley. And then one time I got a sliced beet, pickled beet instead, and I was expecting a spiced apple. Yeah, not the same. I was very disappointed. Actually, I think I have PTSD from it. I don't like beets as much as I should. Yeah, so now I've got them peeled, and I'm going to just rough chop these because I have these planned to make beet hummus. Just a few chunks like that. Working all in my little foil pouch here saves my cutting board. If you've ever done beets, you know that they stain everything. So we'll get these all cut up. And now these over here are ready for my hummus. And coarsely chop them. And these are going to go into my food processor. Try to avoid touching the beets because they do stain the fingers. Next, we're going to add chickpeas. So beets are super healthy, good for you. They're a purple food. They're really good for your brain. They contain lots of vitamin C, folate, magnesium. It's good for the heart, and possibly they even have some anti-cancer properties. These garbanzo beans are absolutely good protein. They're full of fiber, a good alternative if you're a vegetarian. With the garbanzo beans, you need to drain them. And I saved the liquid. This is called aquafaba. And aquafaba can be used as an egg white replacement. In this case, additional flavor that you might be familiar with. It's also full of vitamin B, which is good for your brain. Then we're going to add our flavor components. I've got a teaspoon of cumin, got a teaspoon of kosher salt, and make sure, excuse me, a half teaspoon of kosher salt, and make sure when you're using salt, if the recipe calls for kosher salt, you use kosher salt. If you need to substitute regular table salt, you need to use less because it is more salty. Well, not more salty. Kosher salt is larger, so a larger salt takes up more space in your measuring spoon. So you really actually have less salt. The table salt is very fine like sand, so it's more dense, so you get more salt in the same measurement. So make sure when you read a recipe, you know what you're using. If a recipe doesn't specify, it typically is calling just for table salt. Then a quarter teaspoon of cayenne. You put it in the food processor. And I pulse it just a few times. You want to make sure that you occasionally scrape the sides of the bowl down so you don't get any chunks. So I've pureed my beets, and then I'm going to check them for consistency, and it's pretty spreadable. If you like a lighter, fluffier type of hummus, just add a little bit of aquafaba. And remember, that's the liquid from the beet while it's running. Not too much. Yeah, too much becomes beet hummus soup. Look at that, beautiful. It's almost like it's been whipped. I'm gonna taste it. That is so good. The hummus is just a perfect little marriage with vegetables or some pita chips. Or we preferably look at that. Talk about eating the rainbow. So good. And for somebody like me who doesn't even really care that much for beets, I can eat this beet hummus all day long. Can't stop. So good. Well, thanks for watching my video. I hope you try your hand at making some beet hummus. It's simple, it's nutritional, and it's beautiful.